Hey guys, it's Dr. May. How's it going out there? I want to teach you some expansion on the DBT skills today about using them to create a coping toolbox. And not just a physical coping toolbox, but also a digital coping toolbox, okay? So this is going to be a great way for you to cope ahead and apply your skills, all right? All right, almost there. Okay, so creating a coping toolbox or a coping box. Okay, so what is a coping box? So basically, in advance, when you're not in crisis, you take some kind of a box, and it could be any kind of a box you want, whether it's a plain old cardboard box or a decorated box, and inside, you put all kinds of things that you think will help you to cope during a time of crisis. So instead of trying to collect things or find things to do or find things to distract yourself or self-soothe when your head's really scattered and your emotions are all over the place and all kinds of stuff is going on, you're going to do this in advance. You're going to plan it out, think about the kinds of things that actually help you or that you believe will help you, and put them all in one place where you know exactly where to find it, right? So this is something you could keep in your room or keep in a closet or a drawer, somewhere where it's very accessible to you, okay? And then you take it out when you need it and dig through it and use all the stuff in there that you need, okay? So let's just look at this for a second. So this captures in part the DBT cope ahead skill, like I was starting to say before. So coping ahead is part of ABC Please, which is to reduce vulnerability to negative emotions. So it's about planning ahead so that when a crisis comes, you know what to do to handle it, okay? So if you know that there's certain things that help you to cope that you could have access to, it's planning ahead and doing this so that when you get there, you're not caught by surprise, okay? It's also very tied into the distracting with accept skills or the wise mind accepts, because essentially a lot of the things in that box might help you to distract yourself from some of the pain that you're feeling, right? So instead of being completely overwhelmed by it, it might help to take your mind off of it enough so that you could calm down and deal with the problem better, okay? And obviously we're gonna pick safe things to do. And you could refer to the distract with accept skill for additional ideas, okay? But basically that's, one of the main components of the coping box. You're also going to consider another distress tolerance skill, which is about self-soothing, okay? So the things in the box can probably help you self-soothe by using your different senses, okay? So that would be vision, so things to look at, taste, perhaps certain little things to eat, although you wouldn't put a refrigerator and worth of perishable food in your coping box. Hearing, all right, things to listen to. Touch, maybe pleasant things to touch and play with, maybe fidget toys or stuffed animals or things like that. Smell, such as essential oils, lotions, of that sort. Motion, maybe kind of things to do that involve moving around, okay? So I'm going to show you some examples of coping boxes and we'll see how this plays out. Okay, so here's a picture of one that I found on the internet. Okay, so this is one particular person's coping box. Now, of course, you should make this completely personalized for you, right? But this might give you just some ideas. So starting with the upper left, so this person has candy. So, I mean, obviously we want to be judicious about candy. You don't want to binge on candy, but maybe having a few like sucking candies or treats might be a self-soothe with taste kind of a skill, okay? A funky stress ball. So that's a great thing to play with to kind of get some of the tension out and to keep your hands busy, if you feel that fidgety kind of a feeling. A coloring and activity book. Sometimes people find coloring activities, such as mazes and word searches, right? Sometimes it's like, it's not hard, but it keeps your mind focused enough so that you're thinking less about your problem, so just like searching for the word in the word search puzzle or Sudoku or something like that might be fun. The person has a DVD called Brave. So that maybe there's DVDs that you like. There's a certain movie or movies or shows that you would want to pull out when you're stressed out, okay? If you have physical movies, that could be in your box. But otherwise, we could talk about that being in our digital coping box. Okay, she includes, or he includes, I think it's probably she, a cuddly toy. So she has a little stuffed animal, right? Maybe there's the one that you have that you could cuddle with or that you could touch or pet. That would be fun to have. Maybe it's one with special meaning even that you've had for a long time. or that someone gave you, and so it feels nice to have it. Colored pencils. So you could probably have any kind of things if you're drawing, or coloring. So colored pencils, markers, whatever floats your boat. If you're worried about sharps though, because you tend to hurt yourself with sharps, just be careful about things like pencils. Maybe markers might be a better choice, but use your best judgment, your wise mind judgment in advance. This person has Play-Doh, which is great to play with. It's a good touch self-soothe, possibly even a smell because it has that very unique Play-Doh smell. Keeps your hands busy, kind of like a stress ball, okay? Chinese finger puzzle, which might also feel kind of fun to play with, I guess if you like that. Feather, probably also for touch and some of the other sensations you could do with a feather. It could be kind of a fun mindfulness exercise too, to like drop a feather and just watch it float down. We've done that in some of my groups for mindfulness. Rubber bands. Sometimes people snap a rubber band on their wrist as kind of like an intense sensation that's other than hurting themselves, but it depends on the person. Some people like that and some people don't. And finger paints. I guess if you're into that, if you like smearing that around, why not? Okay. And finally, the person put in a meaningful journal and books that make me happy. Even magazines might be fun. So you don't have to think too hard, but you can look at the pictures, but make sure they're not triggering magazines, such as magazines of fashion models that might make you feel bad about yourself. Okay. So these are just some ideas. Here's another one. So this person has some kind of similar stuff like the other one. You can see this crayons. This one person has bubbles in it. That could be a fun mindfulness, blowing bubbles and watching the bubbles. And it also gets you to breathe. It gets you to exhale. And when you lengthen your exhales, you feel more relaxed, right? When you have longer exhales and inhales, it signals to your body that you're more relaxed. Looks like this person has construction paper, some other paints and card game, scarf. I guess maybe that's what that person likes, okay? Let's look at another one. Okay, so this person has a mindfulness-based stress reduction workbook on a CD. That might be interesting. Some stickers, Sudoku puzzle, magnetic poetry. That's kind of fun sometimes, although it can be challenging. Composition book, I guess, if you want a journal. A sock monkey, scented candles, nail polish, hot cocoa. That's a fun taste, right? And looks like some pens or markers there. Okay, so some slight variations. I would even say a jigsaw puzzle might be fun. I know some people that really like doing jigsaw puzzles, and that's kind of a good coping mechanism. Okay. All right, so here's yet another one that I found. This person, I guess one of the different things is stress relief lotion. Okay, they have some, looks like marbles in there. Might be fun to play around with. Lifesaver mints, maybe an intense taste to kind of keep your mind a little fresh on the minty taste rather than your problems. Colored pencils, okay, and a personalized box with her name on it. All right, so those are just some ideas, but obviously put in there what you feel should be helpful to you. Now I want to move on and take this to the 21st century with digital coping box ideas. So we all have our little digital coping box called a smartphone, okay? Well, most of us anyway. And so there's ways to pre-plan things on your phone or on your device if you have a tablet or a computer, so that that's all set up for you when you need to cope. And given that you often have it with you, or maybe always have it with you, it's a totally convenient way to create a digital coping box, okay? So I'm gonna give you some ideas. 1, download some apps that are therapeutic and help you cope, okay? So these are just some examples. There's a DBT apps. There's actually a few of them. You could play around with them in advance to help you apply DBT skills and work through digital diary cards and stuff like that. So I would try that when you're not in crisis, kind of get that going in your routine, and then it might become part of your routine. It might help prompt you for skills that you need in the moment. Insight Timer, Calm, and Headspace are good meditation apps. So it kind of could guide you through, relaxing, calming down, focusing your mind. Insight Timer is my favorite, and it also has like therapeutic music, and it has mantras, and it has binaural beats, which kind of get your brain waves kind of calmer. It has like a way of vibrating a certain way to retrain your brain, okay? So anything like that, or I'm sure there's plenty others that I'm missing. Make sure that's pre-downloaded on your phone. Practice them in advance, check them out so you're familiar with them. And then this way you'll know that you can use them when you're really stressed out. Okay, Here's another one. Music, okay? A lot of people say music helps them cope, right? You might even be one of those people, okay? So in advance, maybe come up with some playlists of songs that are particularly helpful for you in times of crisis, okay? Now, music can also sometimes be triggering. Certain songs might remind you of difficult times in your life or people from the past that may have hurt you. So be careful about what songs you include in your playlist, okay? So if you do Apple iTunes and stuff like that, you could come up with a playlist. If you like streaming music, maybe, you know, create or tune into channels that play music that make you feel good, okay? Or that are soothing to you in times of stress, all right? So you Pandora, Spotify, whatever is your favorite. All right, another thing is YouTube's a great resource, okay? If you're watching me, then you're on YouTube right now. In advance, like channels that have material that's useful to you so you could find it easily when you're stressed out, okay? So one, motivational and inspirational teachers, okay? If you want to tune into my channel, it has all kinds of therapeutic stuff. It'll keep you busy for a very long time, right? This recording right now, I think this is my 85th video, okay? So lots of stuff. You could also listen to people, some of my favorites are Tara Brach, who's a meditation teacher who has a lot of really good Dharma talks. Matt Kahn, very inspirational spiritual teacher. Robert Ohado, great inspirational spiritual teacher. There's another channel called Inspire Nation, where there's a guy who interviews a lot of different kinds of speakers, all about spiritual and wellness topics. But there might be other people that you really like, okay? Brene Brown's great, like, you know, whoever you like to listen to that could talk to you in a more inspiring way and get you out of your head, all right? Energy healing exercises are available on YouTube. I really like Donna Eden, but there's also other people. And following along with those energy exercises can change the way your body is feeling and help you get through that tough time better, okay? And some of them don't even take that long. There's also plenty of yoga practices on YouTube. I would find some of your favorites and make sure you like them and favorite those channels so you could easily do yoga as a coping skill. Same thing with meditation. Although the apps are probably easier to use, you could also go on YouTube and find guided meditation videos and music and stuff like that. And even if, you know, you want to bring your music to YouTube, you could have, you know, music videos that you like to watch that might make you feel good at a time of stress. Okay, so have all that stuff favorited and prepared in advance so it's very easy for you to find when you need it. All right, next, digital media. Okay, so, you know, if you like to read, if you feel like you could focus enough to read, make sure that your device has some good ebooks downloaded that you can go to. Okay, so that might help ease the stress. If there's podcasts you like or want to explore, you know, maybe there's some favorites of those that you can go to and listen to when you need it. And those could be ready on your phone. Also, if you like watching shows or movies or things like that, you might be able to access things like Amazon Prime, Netflix, Hulu, things like that on your phone or your device. Okay, so all that could be available to you to help you cope. All right, so these can be used for dual purposes, right? So a lot of these things are entertaining, but they also could be therapeutic. It's a double advantage of using them as a distraction. Okay, another thing you could do, which you may not have thought about, is collect digital quotes and memes and either save them in your pictures or put them on Instagram or, you know, some place where you could put them in one place, okay? And scroll through them when you need them, okay? So here's a few I found today. So things like "you can do it" or "this too shall pass" or "just keep taking one step at a time." Things that remind you to stay back on track, right? It could even be things that people have told you, right? So whatever works for you, collect those, put them in one place, and then just look at them, all right? Okay, and just a reminder, right? We also need to know when not to use technology. So even if you have this good stuff loaded on your phone, for example, you need to know when this phone's being triggering for you. So if it's too hard not to check your texts or not to check your emails or not to check social media, and those things are triggering right now, this may not be the best time to use technology in your coping box, okay? You may want to use the physical things instead. Because let's say part of your stress has to do with interactions with certain people, and those certain people are hounding you on those social media things or through texting and stuff like that. So if you need to get away from that to cope, then don't use your phone. Use something else. Okay, so use your wise mind about that. All right, so that's just my one little warning for today. And I think that's it. Okay, so I hope you give this a try. Okay, so this will really enhance your coping mechanism for yourself. Okay, and get you all ready to go when that crisis inevitably comes our way. Okay, so good luck. Let us know how you're doing, and see you next time. All right, bye for now, guys.